Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. We must continue to set the record straight, guys. Stop the lies, stop the narratives, and stop these fools from rewriting history, man. And in this video, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this clown, Demar Derozen, and these stupid comments he made about James Harden. And he said that run that James Harden has is the greatest run that he's ever seen in his life. That's what he said. The run by James Harden is the greatest run that he's ever seen in his life. This is what DeMar DeRozan said. See, I'm telling you right now, these guys expose themselves every time they open their mouth. These guys, they don't know the history of the game. They don't know. They don't care to know the history of the game. They've never done any homework, any research, never looked into this stuff. They just talk nonsense. And James Harden's run that he had, I'm assuming he said when he was winning those scoring titles and doing all that scoring, that's the greatest run. We know all those 30-point games, those straight 30-point game plus point games. He's saying that's the greatest run he's ever seen in his life. DeMar DeRozan. These guys are clowns, man. I'd say they talk just to talk. They don't say anything. We're going to talk about this video, guys. I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all the support, man. It really means a lot. Shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to my man, Vernon Lee Warren, for the super thanks coming through. I really appreciate that. You humble me once again, man, with all the support. Thank you. And you guys know what to do, man. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, once again, I'm on YouTube this morning, and I see these comments that ESPN posted. I swear, ESPN, I think they do this stuff to piss us off, to mess with us. And they posted this comment from DeMar DeRozan. And he said, in relation to James Harden's 30-point streak that he had, I think it was from 2018 into 2019. I want to say he had a streak there of 30-plus point games. For however many games it was. I don't remember. It's irrelevant. But DeMar DeRozan said that was the greatest run that he's ever seen in his life. That's the greatest run he's ever seen in his life. James Harden's 30-point streak from 2018 to 2019 is the greatest run that he's ever seen in his life. So immediately off the jump, this exposes DeMar DeRozan of really not watching the NBA when he was younger, not really studying the history of the game. I want to try and think when DeMar DeRozan was born. I want to say he was born in 1989. I want to say he was born in 1989. So that means he grew up watching Kobe Bryant, the Shaquille O'Neals, Tim Duncan, right? Some of these guys of the 2000s. I'm sure he grew up watching these guys. So once again, DeMar DeRozan, for him to say that James Harden's run in 2018, 2019 is the greatest run that he's ever seen, it puts him out of touch of reality. And not, once again, exposing him as not understanding or knowing the history of basketball. You see, guys, just because you're born a certain year and you didn't maybe watch guys in the 80s or you didn't watch guys in the 90s because you were born later, you didn't get to witness Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Dr. J or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain or Jerry West or Oscar Robertson, or Elgin Baylor. You didn't get a chance to witness these guys play, right? John Havlicek or Rick Barry, Dave Cowens or Moses Malone. You didn't get a chance to see some of these guys play live. There's still video footage of these guys. There's still facts that you can research. You can do your homework on these guys. Study the game's history. Once again, learn about the history of the game. So once again, that you can give an informed opinion. That you can be educated on the facts, man, about the reality. And for DeMar DeRozan to make these comments that this is the greatest run that he's ever seen. Once again, you never saw Kobe Bryant in the stretch of games that he did. The scoring prowess that he put out in those 2000s, an era, mind you, that was way more defensive than what James Harden was doing in 2018, 2019. Are we impressed with the NBA in 2019? Were you guys impressed with the 2019 NBA season? Have you guys been impressed with the NBA over the last, 5 or 10 years or so? No, we have not been impressed. The NBA has been going downhill. The game is not beautiful to watch. And if we remember how James Harden was scoring all these points that DeMar DeRozan's in awe of, Yo, the greatest run I've ever seen in my life was James Harden. This guy was scoring points all over the place. The man was literally traveling all over the court. Go back and watch the video footage of James Harden in 2018, 2017, 2019, when he was winning those fraudulent scoring titles. Go back and watch the video footage. All you see is James Harden taking 3, 4, 5 step backs and being allowed to shoot these threes. All you see is James Harden lunging into people, hooking people's arms, flopping around, flailing his body backwards to draw these foul calls. The man was averaging like 11, 12, 13 free throws a game. A game. And DeMar DeRozan wants to talk about that's the greatest run, the greatest stretch, and he's ever seen in his life. The whole run is fraudulent. And I've done videos on this. James Harden is a fraud, guys. Fraudulent. See, DeMar DeRozan won't talk about Mike D'Antoni. He won't talk about the Mike D'Antoni system and what that did for someone like a James Harden. Right? The man didn't win a scoring title until Mike D'Antoni coached the team. Where was James Harden on all that run he did, all that scoring he had? Where was that in the postseason in 2018? Wasn't there? Where was it in 2019? It wasn't there. Once again, someone like DeMar DeRozan not being in touch with reality and not giving the facts. He's just talking about these scoring numbers, the numbers, once again, the stats that James Harden put up in 2019. However, he won't talk about the postseason that year. He won't talk about that. Nope. Has James Harden ever led a team to an NBA Finals? Never did. So he has 3 scoring titles under his belt. He won 3 years in a row in one of the most fraudulent eras, probably the most fraudulent era in NBA's history, the softest era in NBA's history. And it came to a peak in the 2018-2019 seasons. Those seasons that James Harden was scoring all those points, those are the most fraudulent scoring titles probably, perhaps, in the history of the game, guys. And James Harden never won a scoring title while playing 82 games. Never once. He won a scoring title in 2020, playing 68 games. I'm not impressed at all, guys, by James Harden, his quote-unquote scoring streak that DeMar DeRozan tells you is the greatest streak in the history of the game. In the history of what he's seen, you ain't seen much, DeMar DeRozan, then. Once again, you're exposing yourself, your lack of historical perspective or context. Because once again, I told you guys, James Harden's not even a top 10 shooting guard all time. He's not above guys like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Jerry West or Dwayne Wade or Clyde Drexler or Allen Iverson or Reggie Miller or Ray Allen. I'm not putting him above George Gervin or Sam Jones. I mean, my goodness, what are we talking about here? How about Tracy McGrady? James Harden ain't no top 10 shooting guard, guys. I'm not putting him in the top 10 all-time shooting guards list, man. I'm not. But in this era, he's the greatest shooting guard. And someone like DeMar DeRozan wants to tell you it's the greatest streak in the history of the game. What he did scoring the basketball. Even though he was traveling all over the court, manipulating the rules. And the NBA was called out for this stuff. Right? They had to revamp this stuff. They had to come up with flopping guidelines, all this stuff now. Because guys like James Harden were abusing and once again taking advantage of the rules of the NBA. James Harden ain't scoring any of those points, guys, in the 90s. He ain't scoring those points in the 2000s when Kobe Bryant was scoring all those points and doing what he was doing. Guys like Tracy McGrady scoring all these points. Right? I'm telling you right now, James Harden ain't doing that in that era, guys. He ain't doing it. Because his whole game is based off of what? Manipulation of the rules, guys. Flopping around for foul calls, getting 11, 12 free throws a game, throwing his body all over the place, traveling up and down the court, carrying the basketball all over the place. DeMar DeRozan, that's the greatest run what James Harden did in the softest era of NBA history. How is that the greatest run when you're playing in the softest era with the weakest defense in the history of the game? I don't understand these guys and how they're impressed with people scoring or putting up stats in this weak era. It doesn't make any sense. It's like when they talk about the NFL and the passing yards these quarterbacks are putting up now. Oh, this guy, as a rookie, put up 5,000 passing yards. Yes, in an era where you can't even hit the quarterback, where these guys are protected 100%, where the receivers can't get touched anymore, right? Everything, all the rules have been catered to the offensive end of the ball. So the numbers have been inflated. So you can't compare what these guys are doing last year to what Joe Montana or Dan Marino was doing in the 80s. It ain't the same game. Same thing in the NBA. They've literally changed all the rules, taking all the physicality out the game. The effort's not there anymore by a lot of these guys, so it allows someone like James Harden to look greater than he really is. And DeMar DeRozan exposes himself, once again, like a lot of these guys. Guys like DeMar DeRozan, these guys are idiots. They don't know the history of the game. They're not students of the game. They don't respect the history of the game. They don't care to know the history of the game. They don't care. All they want to talk about is stats. All they want to talk about is the guys today are much greater. They're more skilled. They're bigger, stronger, faster, even though that's not the reality. That's not the facts of the matter. And for DeMar DeRozan to say that James Harden's streak is the greatest streak that he's ever seen in his life, once again, it exposes him as not knowing of the history of the NBA, not really watching the history of the game when he was growing up. A lot of these guys, they're gifted, man. They're blessed athletically. They're blessed with height. They're 6'6", 6'7". So they're playing basketball because what else are you supposed to do? But they don't really love the game. They don't care to know the history of the game or respect the history of the game. So when you say something like that, you sound stupid. That's the greatest run that he's ever seen in his life. The greatest run he's ever seen in his life. He was born in 1989, I believe he was born, DeMar DeRozan. So that means he was probably like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old when Michael Jordan was on his second three-peat. So what Michael Jordan was doing was not the greatest run you've ever seen. Winning 3 championships in a row after coming back from retirement. That's not an impressive streak. And if he wants to talk about the scoring of James Harden, once again, how is that impressive when you're doing it in an era with no defense and you're manipulating the rules? Was anybody rooting for James Harden in 2017 or 2018, 2019? Was anybody rooting for this fool? Where was he when it mattered most? He was nowhere to be found. He couldn't make a 3-point shot to save his life. But they want to talk about James Harden's skills and his scoring prowess. Only in this fraudulent NBA. Where's James Harden been since he left Mike D'Antoni? How many scoring titles has he won since he left Mike D'Antoni? Does anybody know? How many All-NBA teams has he made since he left Mike D'Antoni? None, guys. 0. 0. James Harden was a system player. That's why he wears that T-shirt that says, I'm a system. Because he knows deep down inside, he was made by Mike D'Antoni. He hasn't proved anything outside of Mike D'Antoni. Nothing. He can't win a scoring title, hasn't won another MVP, that fraudulent MVP he won in 2018, as we know he would never sniff an MVP in any other era. So do me a favor, DeMar DeRozan, and a lot of you other guys out there, just shut the hell up, because you guys sound stupid, man. You don't sound like you're in touch with reality, and you know the history of the game. James Harden's streak is not impressive. Not in that weak, soft era of NBA, carrying the ball, traveling all over the court. And like I said, when it mattered most, James Harden don't score the ball like that. He don't play defense like that. Lollygagging on the defensive end, save all of his energy to dribble the ball all over the court and do nothing. Guy dribbles for 5 minutes in one spot and chucks up a 3. And I'm supposed to be impressed with that. You guys know the deal, man. DeMar DeRozan, you've exposed yourself again, like a lot of these guys have. James Harden's streak, the most impressive streak that I've seen. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.